Here's the 100 greatest NBA players of all time. Number 100, Ben Wallace. I think Ben Wallace is the only undrafted player on this list. Technically, he was part of that 96 class, kinda, that Kobe Nash class. I mean, he was undrafted, but that was his draft class. Something we never talk about. But Ben Wallace was that dude. One of the best defenders of all time, easily. Won the Defensive Player of the Year award 4 times. Tied most all time. Time with the big old goofy Rudy Gobert. But Wallace was an anchor for those early 2000s Pistons squads. One of the coolest teams that ever won a chip. He was a 4-time All-Star, 5-time All-NBA, 6-time All-Defensive Team. And yeah, maybe he doesn't have the offensive game of all the guys on this list, but he's a better defender than probably like 98 of them. And he has one of the hardest 2K covers of all time. But for real, the dude played community college basketball after high school, then becomes one of the best NBA players ever. Shout out to him. But after him, number 99, Chris Bosh. Bosh was part of that other elite rookie class, 2003. Him, Wade, Melo, LeBron. He led all rookies in rebounds and blocks too. Right away, he was a dog. He becomes one of the best Raptors of all time, their leading scorer by the time he leaves. Of course, he goes to that Heat Big 3 squad that's going to win championships. 7 of them apparently.
Championships.
Not 2.
LeBron, tell us about that.
Not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, not 7.
Close, LeBron. Of course though, Bosh goes there, takes a step back because he's not the guy. Even though he's still elite, he wins 2 rings there, then he gets blood clots and unfortunately has to call it a career way too early. 11-time All-Star, All-NBA team, and his number 1, it's retired by the Heat. So number 99, Chris Bosh. 98 though, Billy Cunningham. Billy Cunningham joined the NBA in 1965. I'm gonna be completely honest, I'm not 78 years old. I was born in the 2000s, man. I didn't see half these guys play. A lot of this list is accolades and stats and all that, and how we view these players. So if you disagree, go off in the comments. So yeah, 98, Billy Cunningham. 3 straight All-NBA first teams from 69 to 71. The thing about some of these old dudes where it's hard to rank, a lot of them accomplished this stuff in the ABA. Like Cunningham, the guy won an MVP in the ABA. So obviously, he was a great, but a lot of it did come in the ABA. But he finished his career as an NBA champion, an NBA MVP, or ABA MVP, a 4-time All-Star, 4-time All-NBA team, the NBA 50th and 75th anniversary teams. So yeah, he was great for the Sixers, but a lot of what he did come in the ABA. So moving on from him, 97, that's Joe Dumars. Dumars really became Isaiah Thomas's sidekick for the bad boy Pistons. He was nasty himself though. One of the only guys in the league who gave Michael Jordan a little shot to slow him down, even though no one's stopping MJ. The only way you can stop MJ is with, I don't know, brass knuckles. Dumars was genuinely great though. 2-time champion, NBA Finals MVP, 6-time All-Star, 3 All-NBA teams, 5 All-Defensive teams. There's no denying those accolades. He led the Pistons in scoring 4 straight seasons, so even if he wasn't the guy there, he was the guy that got them buckets always. But number 96, I decided to go with Jimmy Butler. I know, it's mad weird to rank Jimmy Butler as a top 100 player of all time, but I honestly think he is. I mean, he was drafted 30th overall, so he wasn't expected to be this good till he took over in Chicago, then he went to Minnesota, decided to cook their starting 5 with 3rd stringers, hated playing in Minnesota, got a bag in Miami, led them to 2 finals, 1 as an 8 seed. But think about this real quick. Jimmy Butler, you don't think of him as this elite scorer. Honestly, if you're guarding him, sometimes you think, let this guy shoot. But every time you need a bucket in the clutch, you know he's gonna score. And anytime you need a big game, you know he's going for 40. Or if you need assists, he's gonna get 15 of them. It's so weird. Jimmy Butler's like that guy who plays basketball once a year at your local gym, but he's the best player in the world when he wants to be. But if he's not locked in, he's the worst player you ever seen. I don't get it. 96, Jimmy Butler, and 95, Chauncey Billups. You'd think I'm a Pistons fan with all these Pistons. I never turned that shit on in my life. A Detroit Pistons game, but unlike most players on this list so far, Chauncey Billups was actually drafted really high. 3rd overall in 97, and early in his career, everyone thought he was a bust because he kept getting hurt. Then he goes to the Wolves, he averages 22 a night for them in the playoffs. Then he goes to the Pistons, and you know what happens. Detroit Pistons, 2004 NBA champions, Chauncey Billups, Finals MVP.
the 2004 NBA Finals MVP, number 1, Chauncey Billups.
What's more random, the Chauncey Billups Finals MVP or Andre Iguodala? I gotta go Iggy. But Billups had a great career. I know those Pistons teams were fully rounded overall, but Billups was their anchor. The only thing that holds Chauncey back is the guy was so inefficient. But besides that, he'd lock down your other team's best guard. He was clutch, literally called Mr. Big Shot. He's a 5-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA, 2-time All-Defense, Finals MVP, and the best coach in the NBA in 2024. Alright, never mind. Number 94, Dave Cowens. Like Chauncey, Cowens was drafted mad high in the draft, 4th in the 1970 draft. I think we tend to think of these old guys as plumbers, but Cowens had a season where he averaged 25.5 points, 16.2 rebounds. He also led the C's to 2 rings in the 70s. Cowens is a 2-time champion, an MVP, 8-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA second team, which includes the year he won MVP somehow. Got the best player in the NBA, but not the best center. Got it. But he also did make 3 all-defensive teams in his career. So yeah, Dave Cowens, really good at basketball. But at number 93, a guy we all know, Shawn Kemp. Kemp literally dunked on everyone. There might not be anyone who has better posters than this dude, besides Blake Griffin, I guess. But Kemp, he was a great player too. So was Griffin, that wasn't a shot. But Kemp led the Sonics to finals along with Gary Payton. Yeah, they got matched up with MJ and the Bulls, so that sucks. But the Sonics were always nasty with Kemp and Payton. He had seasons where he was averaging 20, 10, and 2 blocks. I think we just think of Kemp as this dunker. He was a 6-time All-Star, he made 3 All-NBA teams, and yeah, his prime might have not lasted as long as most people here, but when it did, he was nice as hell. And he recently said he played every game high, including versus MJ in the finals, and nowadays, he owns weed shops and he's in cartoons. So shout out to him.
Because I recoded the sequence. I'm splicing in DNA from this giraffe and retired NBA legend Shawn Kemp.
Dude, what? You said I was coming up here to sign autographs for the kids.
Following Kemp though, we gotta go to one of the best rebounders ever, number 92, Nate Thurman. Thurman was also drafted really high, 3rd overall. This time though, we gotta go all the way back to 63. Except, Thurman didn't play in the ABA, NBA through and through. Legend. And this guy had seasons where he averaged 21 points and 22 rebounds, but somehow he never made the All-NBA team. Though he has 7 All-Stars, he was on 5 All-Defensive teams, he was the MVP runner-up in 67, but still no All-NBA team. I don't know. But Kareem himself called Thurman the toughest defender in the NBA ever. He also has the first quadruple-double ever, 22 points, 14 rebounds, 13 assists, 12 blocks, average Josh Hart game. But Thurman, he's 11th all-time in rebounds. Less than 200 rebounds of being outside the top 10. So yeah, it's only right we had to put him here. But right after him, we got to get current again. Number 91, Paul George. Paul George had a really great career so far. Started out in Indiana, broke out there, made a bunch of all-star teams, became one of the best NBA defenders, went to OKC, had his best stints of his career there, came in 3rd in MVP voting one season. Then he went to the Clippers, and that never really worked out for him. But now he's on the Sixers, and really, he's just going for the chip. Although he did have some nasty injuries in his career, Paul George undoubtedly has had an elite career. He's a 9-time All-Star, 6-time All-NBA, 4 All-Defensive teams. He was the MIP, led the NBA in steals before. Paul George has a really stacked resume. I have one question though, which are welcome to the NBA moment. But number 90, Artis Gilmore. Gilmore was one of those guys who was an ABA superstar, but when he got to the Bulls, he dominated in the NBA. Led the team at points, rebounds, and blocks. In just the NBA, he's a 6-time All-Star, but if you combine the two, here's his accolades. ABA champion, 1-time MVP, 11-time All-Star, 9 All-ABA/NBA teams, 4-time rebounding champ. So yeah, although a majority was in the ABA, it's hard to deny what Artis Gilmore did. And he's a cheat code in 2K. He also held the NBA record for field goal percentage at 59.9 at the time of his retirement. And if you combine the ABA and NBA, 5th all-time in rebounds. So it's tough to decide how he counts, but I throw him in there. But at 89, I decided to go with Chris Webber. Webber dominated right away, won Rookie of the Year, won some rebounding titles. He had a season where he averaged 28 and 11, 4th in MVP voting that year. He was also part of a Kings team that should have won a ring, but shout out to the refs. But when Webber was at his peak, he dominated. 5 All-Stars, 5 All-NBA teams. But the thing about Chris Webber, you must, and I mean you must, compartmentalize.
And the Lakers are up, but when you're a black man in this country, you can't compartmentalize. You must compartmentalize to stay sane.
Alright, number 88, Dave DeBusschere. Good old Dave, man. The guy was a player coach. Literally coached the Detroit Pistons while playing for them. Then he gets traded to the Knicks, wins 2 titles, and remember when Drake said, back-to-back like I'm Dave DeBusschere in 70, 73 if you don't count 71 and 72? That was a bar. But DeBusschere really was great. Finished his career as a 2-time champion, 8-time All-Star, 6-time All-Defense, 1-time All-NBA. He's one of the best defensive guys on this list. And oh yeah, how could I not mention he's 189th all-time in scoring? I know everyone knows that already, but I just had to mention it. But coming in at number 87, we got Emmanuel Ginobili, the best 6-man in NBA history. Actually, probably second. We'll get to the other guy eventually. Ginobili, though, he was one of the last picks in his draft, 57th overall, and the guy didn't always start, usually a 6-man, but both seasons he did start for the Spurs, All-Star. He was always better than people recognize because his teams were so stacked. But if a rapper mentions Kobe, just know they're rhyming that shit with Ginobili. But it's for a good reason. Manu was that dude. 4-time champion, 2-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA, 6th Man of the Year. Now while those accolades might not look as good as most people on this list, you know how great Manu was, and he's way better than those accolades show. But following Manu, at number 86, Lenny Wilkins. Wilkins is a name you never hear of, really because he played in the Stone Age also, but he was also a player coach too for the Sonics. I don't know, I guess it was a common thing, but Wilkins was a dog. His last season with the Hawks, he was the MVP runner-up. His first season with the Sonics, he averaged 22, 6, and 8 assists. He's a 9-time All-Star, led the NBA in assists. He's actually 17th all-time in assists and top 100 in scoring. So definitely a great career for Lenny Wilkes. But right after Wilkins, at number 85, we got the father of the greatest player of all time, Tim Hardaway Sr. Hardaway was the last pick of the lottery in '89. He was part of that legendary run TMC trio with Mullen at Richmond. The guy had a playoff run where he averaged 26.8, 12.8 assists, and 3.8 steals. He was legit. He started bouncing from team to end his career, but he finished his career as a 5-time All-Star, 5-time All-NBA. He's also 19th all-time in assists, but as great as a player as he was, let's thank God he isn't a full-time commentator.
So y'all thought that was great D? I thought that was just raping him. I think he came down there.
Following Hardaway, at number 84, we got Celtics legend Sam Jones. Jones' career started slow, didn't seem like he was really going to become great, then suddenly, boom. 5 booms actually. But by the time he retired, he was the Celtics' all-time leading scorer. I mean, he had seasons where he averaged 26 points. He won 10 rings in 12 seasons. 83% of the seasons the guy played, he won a chip. He finished his career as a 10-time champion, 5-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA. So yeah, Sam Jones, number 84. And then number 83, we got a fun one, Vince Carter. Vinsanity. If there's someone who just loved to hoop, it was Vince Carter. The guy never retired, played forever. He was the 5th pick in '98. He won Rookie of the Year. Then years after that, he had maybe the best dunk contest performance ever. Carter didn't stop there though. He led the Raptors to their first ever series win. He went to the Nets, continued to hoop there, and Carter, he played for 22 seasons. Imagine being drafted in 1998 and someone tells you you're playing till 2020. I'm not doing that. But Carter would finish his career as an 8-time All-Star, a 2-time All-NBA player. He finished 21st all-time on the scoring list, 45th in steals, 129th in blocks, 10 behind Clint Capella, and 15 behind Kendrick Perkins, the true measurements for greatness. But Carter was 83, one spot above him at 82, I went with Pau Gasol. Pau was drafted high too, 3rd overall. He won Rookie of the Year for the Grizzlies, and eventually, he becomes one of the best Grizzlies ever. Then he gets traded for his brother to the Lakers. I wonder if that's the only time that happened. Has to be. Remember when the Suns thought they were trading for Dillon Brooks though, and it was actually Marshawn Brooks? That was a crazy finesse from Memphis if that worked. But anyways, Pau. Gasol went to the Lakers to be Kobe's running mate, won 2 chips there, went to Chicago, was still great, played in San Antonio, then Milwaukee, and then retires in 2019. Pau's resume is stacked too. 2-time champion, 6-time All-Star, 4-time All-NBA, Rookie of the Year. He's top 45 in points, rebounds, and blocks all time, 28th in rebounds and 21st in blocks too, and he has one of the nastiest moves ever.
The only thing we're talking about. Look at Gasol behind his back, over to Ariza for the slam.
Alright, so following Pau Gasol, number 81, Dave Bing. Bing was drafted way back, 1966, second overall, Detroit Pistons. And that's where he spends most of his career. Led the league in scoring one year, made 7 All-Star teams, 3 All-NBA teams, just a really good player overall. And then number 80, Robert Parrish. Like Vince Carter, Parrish spent like 10,000 years in the NBA. He was actually drafted by the Warriors, but he was traded to the Celtics later on. Celtics, of course, where we know Parrish from. And then the Bird, Parrish, and McHale trio, 3 championships in the 80s, one of the best big threes ever. Parrish actually played 21 seasons in the NBA. He's the all-time leader in games played. He's a 4-time champ, 9-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA. He's 32nd all-time in scoring, 8th in rebounds, 10th in blocks. So really, he's just a defensive monster. But following him at 79, I think some of you might disagree, but I went with Klay Thompson. Klay might not have all those all-time points to back him up, 141st all-time, but he's still current, so that can't help his case. But in my opinion, he's the second best shooter ever. There's never been anyone that could catch fire like him. I mean, 60 points with 6 dribbles, 14 threes in a game, 37 points in 9 minutes. Things this dude does deadass don't make sense. Plus, he's 6th all-time in threes made. He's part of the best backcourt duo ever. He's gonna lock up your best wing on a night-to-night basis in his prime. And as of right now, he's a 4-time champ, 5-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA, 1 defensive team, but I guess maybe it's currency bias. I don't know. Prime Klay just made his teams better. But right above Klay Thompson, I went with one of the most underrated bucket getters of all time, Alex English. English was a walking bucket. Led the NBA in points per game in 83. In 80, when he got traded to the Nuggets, the dude took over. Averaged 28.4 a night. The Nuggets also made the 85 Western Conference Finals. The English got injured, and that was that. Although, the next season, he averaged 30 a night. He finishes an 8-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA. He's 22nd all-time on the scoring list, and exactly 100th all-time in assists. The 100th greatest passer in NBA history, Alex English. But right after English at number 77, I went with the second member of Run TMC, Chris Mullin. Mullin was the definition of consistent. From 88 to 93, he averaged 25 and 5 boards every season. But while I'm researching for this, it actually says Mullin, known for his shooting, high basketball IQ, compared to Larry Bird. A career 3 rebounds and 2 assists per game, just like Larry Bird. I'm sure he was sneaky athletic with a high motor also. But Mullin really was great. I can't sit here and act like he wasn't. 5-time All-Star, 4-time All-NBA. But after Mullin, we gotta go back to current day, 76, Kyrie Irving. If this list was most skilled players of all time, no joke, Kyrie might be first all time. Kyrie was drafted first overall after playing like 2 seconds of college basketball, and ever since then, it's just been, I don't know, buckets and crossovers and, the other Kyrie stuff. The off-court stuff though, he's been much better recently, but right now, he's 32, he's an 8-time All-Star, he made 3 All-NBA teams, he made the 50-40-90 club, he won Rookie of the Year, and honestly, he might have hit the biggest shot in NBA history in 2016.
Irving and Curry, one-on-one. Irving puts it up. It's good. Kyrie Irving.
Alright, so now we're in the top 75. Following Kyrie, I decided to stick to the point guards. I went with Penny Hardaway. Penny Hardaway's a really weird one, because he got injured and never really got to reach his potential, but I kinda decided for this list, for players like that, I'm gonna try and find a fine line in between what they were at their peak and the fact they never got to reach their full potential. You know what I mean? Like, how am I not gonna put a guy like Penny Hardaway in the top 100? Hardaway was a top pick in his draft class, so he was expected to be great, and he was. Him and Shaq are one of the biggest what-if duos of all time. Definitely should have won, but Shaq did. But he got injured really early in his career, 4 years after he was drafted, and he was never really the same. In his career though, he's a 4-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA. It's weird because he had seasons where he averaged 22 and 7 on 51% from the field, but then again, he was hurt a lot. But he did have 6 really good seasons in his career when he was healthy, so I'll go with him. But back to back with him, I went with another guy who went through something similar, number 74, Grant Hill. Like Hardaway, Hill was drafted 3rd overall too, but for some dumbass reason, he tied Rookie of the Year with Jason Kidd. They both won and shared it. At that point, I'm just telling J-Kid, take it. The Hill was nasty. His second season in the NBA, he led the league in triple-doubles, but then just ankle injuries and other injuries too, they just messed him up. His 13th season in the league is the first time he ever played every game, but he did have seasons where he averaged 26 a night, and he was a great defender. He was a 7-time All-Star, 5-time All-NBA, so he had a great career, but it could have been even greater if he never got hurt. So yeah, 74 is Grant Hill. And 73, you know who he is, Tony Parker. San Antonio legend. TP really gets underrated all the time. I don't know why. I think it's because he was on such a good team that we don't think of him being the all-time great. This guy had seasons where he shot 55% from the field. He's like 4'9", but Parker could swing the rock too. He'd always find the open man, and honestly, it was just the 2014 Spurs as a whole.
By the way, plus 16 for San Antonio.
It is Miami's greatest weakness.
Parker kicks it out. Leonard fakes the three. Pass inside. D out of Duncan for the finish.
How can this even be a team of humans? It's like a robot pinball machine. But Tony Parker was, of course, the second most important part of this dynasty, first being Boris Diaw. But Parker's a 4-time champion, 6-time All-Star, 4-time All-NBA player. He's 20th all-time in assists, top 60 in points. He's had an elite career. That's all you can really say about him. But I did give a slight nod to Alonzo Mourning, who I put at 72. Alonzo Mourning averaged 21 points, 10 rebounds, and 3.5 blocks in his rookie season. Easily one of the best rookie seasons ever. He eventually got traded to Miami and became the guy there, one of the best Heat players ever. He led the NBA in blocks so many times, one of the best defenders ever too. And he was tough as hell. Diagnosed with a kidney disease in 2000, underwent a transplant, came back, and continued to dominate the NBA. I feel like Zoe low-key gets underrated too. I mean, from here on out, 95% of the people have a stacked accolade book, but Mourning, 7-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, I mean, that's stacked. He's 11th all-time in blocks, so that's that. Number 72, Grandmama.
They're so light and so fast, my grandmama can whoop you in them. Grandmama!
At 71, I went with Jerry Lucas. I know, it's a boring one. Old man Jerry Lucas. He came into the league and led the NBA in field goal percentage in his rookie season, averaging 18 a night. That doesn't happen. Then in his third season, he averaged 21 and 21. The guy was a tank. Eventually, he got traded to the Knicks. He won some rings. And Jerry Lucas, he's a 2-time champion, 7-time All-Star, 5-time All-NBA. He's also a 17th all-time in rebounds. I know it's boring to put a guy like Jerry Lucas here, but it is what it is. Jerry Lucas, number 71 all-time. And number 70, that's Dikembe Mutombo. Dikembe is actually one of the best defensive players ever. There's no debate there. I know he played on like 20 teams, but he was a defensive monster on every one. I know I keep saying this, but Dikembe, these accolades just don't happen for everyone. 8-time All-Star, 5-time All-NBA, 4-time Defensive Player of the Year, 6-time All-Defense, 3-time Rebound Leader, 3-time Block Leader. Of course, Dikembe deserves to be here. Him not making the real NBA 75th team was crazy. He's 20th all-time in rebounds and 2nd all-time in blocks. There was no reason for him not to be on that team. Although, someone did get snubbed worse, we'll get to him later. But if you know me, you know who I'm talking about. Anyways, moving on. 69, Wes Unseld. Bet you thought I was going to make a 69 joke? Nope, I'm way too mature for that, and this is too serious. I think Wes Unseld versed the guy that came over to fix my light bulb last week. Nah, but Wes was insane. His first game in the league, he had 22 rebounds. Who does that? He ended up winning Rookie of the Year that season, and he won MVP in his rookie season. Get out of here. Of course, Wes Unseld is the top player of all time. He led the Bullets to 4 finals, and they won a chip too. Unseld's a 1-time MVP, 1-time champ, 5-time All-Star. He led the league in boards one season. He's 13th all-time in rebounds. So 69, Wes Unseld. And 68, that goes to one of the smoothest buckets of all time, Bernard King. King was drafted, then immediately broke NBA records. Of course, he goes to New York. He has that famous 60-point Christmas Day game, but another guy that kinda got screwed by injuries. I mean, there was a 2-year span where he played 6 games total. But when he played, he was insane. 4-time All-Star, 4 All-NBA teams, 2 All-NBA first teams. He led the NBA in scoring, and still with all that time missed, he's just outside the top 50 in scoring all time. Imagine if he was healthy, could have been even more great. But following him at 67, I decided to go with Bob McAdoo. Think about this. McAdoo's second, third, and fourth seasons, he led the NBA in points per game in all those seasons. The lowest was 30.6 points. That's why he was averaging 15 rebounds a night too. McAdoo was one of those 70s elite centers. He did play for a lot of teams too though, 7. I never know whether to think of Bob McAdoo as a Clipper, a Knick, or a Piston. He played everywhere. But the thing is, he was great everywhere. A Hall of Famer, 2-time champ, 1-time MVP, 5 All-Stars, 2 All-NBA teams, right around the 70 range in points, rebounds, and blocks all time. Guess it makes sense, because he's right around the 70 range here too. But moving on from him, one of my favorite players of all time, number 66, Yao Ming. Maybe this is bias, because Yao's career was cut short by injuries, but not even a debate. When he was healthy, don't even give me an argument that the guy wouldn't have been one of the best players of all time with a healthy career. There's no doubt in my mind. Yao was the first pick back in 2002. He was the first international player selected first overall. He was the first rookie to start in an All-Star game, but he was just always injured. But in his best seasons, he averaged 25, 11, and 2 blocks. Alright, think about this real quick. Here's my argument for Yao. He played 8 seasons in the NBA. One of those seasons, he played 5 games, so we'll say he played 7 seasons. If you want to get really technical, 3 of those seasons he played 57, 48, and 55 games. The other 4 seasons he played 77 or more, so he really only played 4 full seasons and 3 half seasons. But in the 8 technical seasons of his career, Yao, he was an 8-time All-Star, 5-time All-NBA, he made the All-Star team every season, he made the All-NBA team in 62% of the seasons in his career. I really think a healthy Yao Ming for a full length of an NBA career, we're looking at a top 30 player of all time. That's my Yao rant though, I'm sorry for that. Anyways, number 65, Willis Reed. In Reed's first season, he was 7th in the NBA in scoring and 5th in boards. He was just a consistent all-star and defensive monster for the Knicks. And the dude literally played a finals game on half a leg.
And I think we see Willis coming out. There he comes right now. 6'10" from ground.
That's a WWE type return. Reed is one of the lesser known of those 60 centers though. You got the Wilts and Russells, then behind them were the Reeds and the Unselds. But Reed, he was the first player to ever win All-Star Game MVP, regular season MVP, and Finals MVP in the same year. Good luck, Wilt. But Reed was great. 2-time champion, MVP, 7-time All-Star, all-defensive team. There's really no argument for Reed not to be here. But following Reed, we got 2 of the most confusing careers ever. Number 64, Pistol P. Maravich. Pistol P is one of the best college players ever, there's no question there. The guy passed the ball like, I don't even know how he saw some of these passes he threw. But he was taken with a high draft pick. He averaged 23 in his rookie season. He had seasons where he averaged 31 a night. He had a game where he dropped 68 points. But ultimately, he had to retire kinda early because of knee problems. Yeah, so he only had a 10-year NBA career. But in those 10 seasons, 5 All-Star teams, 4 All-NBA teams, a scoring champ. His jersey's retired for 3 different teams. Think about that. 10 seasons, and he was good enough where his jersey is retired for 3 teams? That's not a thing. But I did give a very slight nod to Bill Walton. Number 63. Walton was actually the first pick in his class. He was expected to be great, and he was. He led the Blazers to a championship. He won an MVP, but like other people on this list so far, injuries. He eventually got traded to that Bird McHale Celtics team. He came off the bench there and won a chip, but Walton has a weird list of accolades. 2-time champion, Finals MVP, regular season MVP, 2-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA, 2-time All-Defense, 6th Man of the Year, rebound leader. So his peak, he was great, but he was hurt often. But either way, he might land 1 on the commentator list. But following Bill Walton, I went with one of the other greatest Blazers ever, number 62, Damian Lillard, Dame Dollar. I always think, we all know the Nets traded the picks that ended up being Tatum and Brown. They traded Dame's pick too. Poor Nets fans. But the second Dame came into the NBA, he just got buckets. Won Rookie of the Year, led the Blazers to some Western Conference Finals, became their all-time leading scorer, has a nickname because he was so dominant in crunch time, people called the dude Dame Time. So yeah, Lillard, a pretty successful NBA career up to this point. He's an 8-time All-Star, 7 All-NBA teams, The fact that Dame is 34 makes me feel old as hell though. Right now, Dame's top 50 in points and assists all time. He's 4th in threes. Really, he's been great. And he's probably the best rapper on this list. He's lucky Miles Bridges ain't a top 100 player though.
I mean it when I say it, bro. We started from the bottom. Childhood friends dropping like leaves in this autumn.
Following Damian Lillard, we gotta go back to LA. Number 60, James Worthy. Worthy was like the Pippen to Magic. Just not as good as Pippen. Still great though. He had seasons where he led the Lakers in scoring during those elite Showtime teams. He had a triple-double in Game 7 of the Finals. Come on, who's doing that? But Worthy, he's a 3-time champion, Finals MVP, 7 All-Star teams, 2 All-NBA teams, and that 42 is hanging up nowadays for the Lakers. So yeah, 60, James Worthy. At 59, we gotta go back a little again, Dolph Schayes. Schayes was named Rookie of the Year in the 40s. I know, he's old. But the guy played a season with a broken arm. That alone should give him a spot on this list. And he set the NBA record with 706 consecutive games. He was the first player to reach 15,000 points and 10,000 rebounds. He's a 1-time champ, 12-time All-Star, 12-time All-NBA. He led the league in rebounds. He's a center who averaged 25 points and 90% from the line. That alone should make him probably higher on this list actually. So yeah, 60, the Dolphin. Well, 59, Kevin McHale. I know I said Ginobili might have been the best 6-man ever, but it's Kevin McHale. He's the best. The crazy thing, the Celtics lost in 83. McHale almost dipped from Boston and signed with the Knicks. Imagine that, Ewing and McHale. But McHale was great. He had seasons where he averaged 26 and 10 on 60% from the field, 3-time champion, 7-time All-Star, 1 All-NBA team, 6 defensive teams, 2 6-Man of the Year awards. Just great at what he had to do when he had to do it. But one spot above him, I did give the nod to another Celtic, Paul Pierce. Early on in Pierce's career, he led the NBA in scoring. He became one of the best scorers in the NBA pretty quickly. Later on, of course, the Big Three formed. He won a chip and a Finals MVP. He got stabbed about 49 times and played like 20 minutes later. But of course, he'd finish off his career and become a Hall of Famer. Even though he might have shit his pants, we may never know. But Pierce, a champion, a Finals MVP, 10 All-Stars, 4 All-NBA teams, very deserving of being on this list. Pierce is 17th all-time in scoring, 23rd in steals, 14th in threes. But I know some of you are going to disagree with this one, but at number 57, I gave the nod to Tracy McGrady. Chill out before you go to the comments. Saying T-Mac had too short of a career? Think about it for a second. T-Mac, in the time he did play, 7 All-Star teams, 7 All-NBA teams, 2 scoring champs, an MIP. That's a lot better than a lot of players on this list. And T-Mac wasn't just a scorer like a lot of people think. He had seasons where he averaged 8 boards and 6.5 assists. Now yeah, his career was ruined by injuries, but that doesn't mean when he was healthy he wasn't great. He was. So yeah, I'm going T-Mac at 57, and at 56 I put another bucket, Carmelo Anthony. Melo was part of that 03 draft class with Bron, Wade in them, and for the Nuggets, he led them to the playoffs every single season. Then he gets traded to the Knicks and becomes one of the best Knicks players ever too. He's arguably probably the best Olympic player ever also. Well, top 3. The best will be on this list later. But Melo had an elite NBA career. There's no doubt about it. 10 All-Star teams, 6 All-NBA teams. They led the NBA in scoring, 10th all-time in scoring. It doesn't get much better than that, other than 9, 8, 7, 6 and the rest. But anyways, number 55, how about this one? Dennis Rodman. One of the most interesting players ever. I actually did a whole video on him, so definitely check that out after. Plug. Nah, but for real, Rodman was one of those guys who couldn't really play offense, so it's hard to rank him much higher. But holy shit, could this dude play defense. Remember, he's 6'7", he led the NBA in rebounding 7 straight years. He was also going to guard your team's best player every night. It didn't matter if it was a 7-footer. Rodman was going to slow him down just as much as anyone else. He's a 5-time champ, 2 All-Star teams, 2 All-NBA teams, 2 Defensive Player of the Years, 8 All-Defensive teams. He's also 23rd all-time in rebounds. That's in a 14-year NBA career. So yeah, very deserving. 55, Dennis Rodman. And if you're ever curious how to rebound, just ask him.
Michael Shue over here, I position myself right there. Now I hit the rim, it's boom, click and go back this way, boom, here, click and go that way, boom, that way, click here and go like this way.
At 54, I decided to go with Ray Allen. A lot of us think of Ray Allen as this spot-up shooter, and yeah, later in his career, that's what he was. But early on, this is a guy that was in the dunk contest. I did a video on Ray Allen too, so check that one out also. Once again. Ray Allen though, when he was in his earlier days on the Sonics and the Bucks, he was usually the best player on his teams, and a lot of the times he led those teams to the playoffs, one-time conference finals too. Then he goes to the Celtics, wins with them, goes to the Heat, wins there, becomes a villain in Boston, and then calls it a career. Allen finished his career as a 2-time champ, 10-time All-Star, 2-time All-NBA, 27th all-time in scoring, 2nd all-time in threes, even though Steph actually destroyed that record. So yeah, 54, prank victim, Ray Allen. I feel like this is taking the easy way out, but 53, I just couldn't find another spot for him really. Reggie Miller. It feels corny to put Ray Allen and Reggie Miller back to back, but oh well. They did have really similar careers. When Miller was drafted, he was actually a controversial pick, but of course, he ends up becoming the best pacer ever. So anyone who thought it was controversial was dumb. But this guy also just beat the Knicks whenever he felt like it, so that's that. Miller's a 5-time All-Star, 3 All-NBA teams, he's 23rd all-time in scoring, 5th in threes made, so yeah, Reggie Miller, number 53. And number 52, we gotta get current once again, Anthony Davis. Data Davis. One of the best players in the game right now, one of the best players ever. When AD came into the league, he was a college player we've never seen before. I mean, look at this graphic. His blocks for straight up other teams as a whole. He's one of the best Pelicans ever, went to the Lakers, won a chip there. There's no denying AD is one of the best players ever. I know he's hurt a good amount, but when he's healthy for the most part, it's hard to put him here. I mean, look at these accolades. 1-time champion, 9-time All-Star, 5 All-NBA teams, which includes 4 first teams, 5 defensive teams, led the league in blocks 3 times. He's around the 80 mark in points and rebounds all time, and he's only 31, so there's room for improvement. But 52 feels pretty safe for now. And at 51, we gotta go back to New York. I went with Clyde Frazier. Clyde's arguably the greatest Knick ever. He's definitely the best Knick point guard ever. He had seasons where he averaged 23, 8, and 7, was one of the league's best defenders, probably the most stripped out player to ever play in the NBA. I mean, this guy got another dude on Reddit making a post saying Clyde Frazier is so fucking cool, and over 2,100 people agreed. Is that glaze? Is that aura? I don't know, somewhere in between. But Clyde's a 2-time champ, 7-time All-Star, 6 All-NBA teams, 7 All-Defensive teams, and all 7 were first teams. So yeah, Clyde Frazier, the 51st best player of all time. And now, we're in the top 50, and number 50, I think some of you are going to disagree, but I went with Victor Wembanyama. Alright, I'm joking, that'd be crazy. It's George Mikan. Mikan's weird to rank, because he was the NBA's true first GOAT, but then again, he played in the 40s. When he did play, he was great. 5-time champion, 4-time All-Star, 6 All-NBA teams. More All-NBA teams than All-Stars? I don't know. 3-time scoring champ though, 1-time rebound champ. And also, in 1950, they named him the greatest player of the first half of the century. That's a big thing to get named. For 2000 to 2050, is there a chance in the next 26 years anyone gets that over LeBron? I don't know, let me know. Anyways, let's move on. Number 49, I went Rick Barry. Here's how Barry's career went. His rookie season, he averaged 27 and 11. He averaged 36 in his second season. He averaged 41 in the finals one season. So Rick Barry, he could score with the best of them. Although he did shoot his free throws like this.
8 points a game. Here in the playoffs against Detroit.
If it works, I guess. But Barry in his NBA career, a champion, a finals MVP, 8-time All-Star, 6-time All-NBA, 5 on the first team, a scoring champ, a steals champ. So yeah, Barry is 49. And 48, you guys might hate this one, but I said Luka Doncic. Before you click off the video, hear me out. Luka's only played 6 seasons in the NBA, I understand, but in those 6 seasons, he's made 5 All-Star teams and 5 All-NBA teams already, and all 5 of them were first teams. He led the NBA in scoring last season, the Mavs made the finals, he averages a career 28.7 points per game. That's 3rd all-time, right behind Jordan and Wilt. And yeah, people make fat jokes, the Ozempic jokes, but Luka's a dog, fat or skinny. No one in the league could guard him, it's really just the truth. But it's not even just the scoring. Along with the 29 points per game for his career, he averages 9 rebounds and 8 assists too. almost a career triple-double. So yeah, number 48, Luka Doncic, and one spot ahead, I went with George Gervin, the Iceman. Arguably the hardest nickname ever. But Gervin the player, he was part of the NBA merger, and when he joined the Spurs, he straight up took over. Won the scoring title in 78, led the 70 Spurs to being one of the league's best offenses. He's a 9-time All-Star, 7-time All-NBA with 5 first teams, 4-time scoring champ, bucket getter. Averaged a career 25 points per game. So yeah, that's where I'm putting George Gervin. But one spot ahead of Gervin, I went with another great scorer, Dominique Wilkins. Dominique averaged 25 points per game for 10 straight seasons. He also won the 1986 scoring title, averaged 31 points the season after that too. He messed up his Achilles, then came back and still averaged 30. There's no debate about Dominique Wilkins' greatness. 9-time All-Star, 7-time All-NBA, scoring champ, 15th all-time in scoring, but I did give a slight edge to Elvin Hayes, who I put at number 45. Hayes joined the Rockets in 68. He averaged 28 and 17 his rookie season, the first rookie ever to lead the league in points. Then a couple years later in 78, he had a game with 22 points, 27 rebounds, 11 blocks. He finished his career as a 1-time champion, 12-time All-Star, 6 All-NBA teams, 2 All-Defensive teams, led the NBA in points once and rebounds twice. He's 12th all-time in points, 4th in rebounds, 25th in blocks. You know what? Maybe Elvin Hayes is the greatest player ever. Alright, never mind, moving on. At 44, Dwight Howard. The fact that Howard wasn't on the All-NBA actual 75th team feels like an actual robbery. Howard was the first pick in the 04 draft. Right away, youngest player ever to average a double-double. He led the Magic to the 09 finals, won back-to-back depoys, then bounced from team to team, but eventually, on a second stint in the Lakers, finally won a chip. Dwight Howard finished his career a 1-time champion, 8 All-Stars, 8 All-NBA teams with 5 first, 3 depoys, 5 defensive teams, led the league in rebound 5 times, blocks twice. He's 10th all-time in rebounds, 13th in blocks, and top 60 in points. There is no excuse for Dwight Howard not being on the actual 75 list, but right above Dwight, I gave a slight edge to Clyde Drexler, number 43. Drexler was the Blazers guy for a really long time. I think you could say either Drexler or Lillard or the GOAT Blazer, but what Drexler did there, can't overlook. He made the finals in 92, although he did run into MJ, but Drexler's one of 3 players with 20,000 points, 6,000 assists, and 6,000 rebounds. That puts him top 40 in points and assists, and he's actually 9th in steals too. He's a 1-time champ, 10-time All-Star, 5 All-NBA teams, so yeah, Clyde Drexler, the 43rd best player of all time. And coming right above him, I have Gary Payton at 42. Payton's the best supersonic ever. I don't really think there's a debate there. Although he was garbage in his rookie season, he picked it up. The first guard to ever win depoy, probably the best guard defender ever. He's a 1-time champion, 9-time All-Star, 9-time All-NBA, 9-time All-Defensive Team, 999. He may or may not be Juice WRLD, but Payton's a 1-time Defensive Player of the Year. He led the NBA in steals once. He's 38th in points, 11th in assists, 5th in steals. This guy is really one that just goes underrated, but I do have to say, at number 41, don't kill me, I went with Joel Embiid. Alright, I have something to say before you think I'm a homer or something. If I was ranking my favorite NBA teams, the Sixers might be like 59th. I don't like the Sixers, not even close to it. But it's hard to deny Joel Embiid's greatness. The guy's unstoppable. I mean, he averaged 35 points per game last season. The season before that, he led the NBA in scoring, and the season before that, I watched this guy drop 70 on Wemby. And yeah, I know he never made the Eastern Conference Finals, but Embiid himself has been great. Remember I said Luka's 3rd on the points per game list? Well, Embiid's 4th. That's how good he's been. He's an MVP, 7-time All-Star, 5 All-NBA teams, 3 defensive teams, 2 scoring champs, and as much as I dislike the Sixers, it's hard for me to deny Embiid's greatness. But right after Embiid at number 40, I have another big man, Patrick Ewing, the greatest New York Knick of all time. Ewing was the first pick in his draft. He went to the Knicks with that frozen envelope. He quickly became a Knick great, had a season where he averaged 29, 11, and 4 blocks. Yeah, he's an 11-time All-Star, 7-time All-NBA, 3-time All-Defense, a Rookie of the Year. He just ran into MJ every year. But Ewing's top 30 in both points and rebounds all time, and he's 7th in blocks. So yeah, Ewing had to be here. But just above Ewing, number 39, Steve Nash. If you were open, Nash was going to find you. He's arguably the GOAT Suns player. That's the part we're in. The arguable GOAT to their team. Ewing, Nash. Like I said, he was going to get you the ball. 5th all-time in assists, 2-time MVP, 8-time All-Star, 7 All-NBA teams, 5-time assist leader, 4-time 50-40-90 club. That's the craziest part of it all. So yeah, 39, Steven Nashenstein. And 38, another great guard, Bob Cousy. Now we're at the point where the old guys, we can respect them. Even the casuals know how great these guys were. Bob Cousy was insane. Genuinely. The guy played on a $9,000 salary. You gotta respect that. Bro did not care about the bag. Just loved the game. And he led the NBA in assists a bunch of times. 8 to be exact. He retired as a 6-time champion, 1-time MVP, 13-time All-Star, 12-time All-NBA with 10 first teams, 8-time assist leader. But at 37, I did give a really slight edge to another Bob Pettit. Pettit was drafted in the 50s, one of the NBA's first stars. The guy won Rookie of the Year in 1955. He could have showed up at the Last Supper. But 2 years after winning Rookie of the Year, he brought the Hawks to the finals. He was the first player ever to hit the 20,000 mark. He was an All-Star in every season, averaged 31 in one season, finished as a career 1-time champion, 2-time MVP, 11-time All-Star, 11-time All-NBA with 10 first teams, 2 scoring championships, 1 rebound championship. He's top 50 in scoring and top 20 in rebounds all time. So yeah, Bob Pettit, number 37. But for every player number 36 through 30, I had an insanely hard time ranking. Any of these guys could go in any order. And I know not everyone will agree with the order I put them in, but 36, I went Allen Iverson. AI is your favorite player's favorite player. He's 6 feet tall on a good day and averaged 24 in his rookie season. Probably the first or second best ball handler ever. The guy averages a career 27 points per game. And he never came out of the game. Led the NBA in minutes per game 7 times in 8 seasons once. He also led the league in points per game 4 times. He's a 1-time MVP, 11-time All-Star, 7 All-NBA teams, 4-time scoring champ, 3-time steal leader, 28th all-time in points, 53rd in assists, 14th in steals. AI had to be on this list. But slightly above him, 35, Isaiah Thomas. If I'm being honest, I really didn't know how to rank Isaiah Thomas. Sometimes you see him top 20, other times you see him in the 40s. I mean, he was the guy for the Bad Boy Pistons. He's a 2-time champ, a Finals MVP, a 12-time All-Star, 5 All-NBA teams with 3 first teams. He also led the NBA in assists 1 time. He's 68th in points, 10th in assists, 17th in steals. So yeah, Thomas was great, no question. And I had a really hard time debating between him and the guy I put at 34. Ultimately, I ended up putting James Harden here. Here's my reasoning. Yes, Harden doesn't have the rings, but Harden's numbers are better, his accolades are better. But the main reason, I don't think there was ever a point where Isaiah Thomas was unarguably the best player on the planet. I think there was a time where James Harden was no debate the best player on the planet. The guy averaged 36 points per game one season, then 11 assists in another. He's one of the greatest scorers and passers the game's ever seen. I think if Harden did have one ring, say that Rockets team won, everyone's looking at Harden as a top 20 player ever. Or even if he wins a ring in his career in the later part, I think people's perspectives on Harden will change. He's too skilled. 1-time MVP, 10-time All-Star, 7 All-NBA with 6 first teams, 3 scoring champs back-to-back-to-back, 2-time assist champ, 20th all-time in scoring, 14th in assists, 37th in steals, and 3rd in threes. So yeah, I think Harden is a really good case, and I really could see him moving higher by the time his career is over. I mean, he still averaged 17 and 9 last season, but if we're talking about passing, it would be wrong for me not to give number 33, John Stockton. John Stockton is the passer of the basketball. That's the only way to describe him. He led the NBA in assists 9 straight seasons. In his 11th season, he became the all-time assist leader. He never did win a ring, but he's still a Hall of Famer, and Stockton probably has the best accolades out of anyone here yet. 10-time All-Star, 11 All-NBAs, 5 All-Defensive teams, 9-time assist leader, 2-time steal leader. But when you look at the steals and assists all-time, he's by far and away the leader. There's no chance anyone catches that assist record. I don't know how it would be possible. But at 32, we're sticking to the point guards. I went with Chris Paul. CP3 was drafted 4th in 05. He led the NBA in assists a few times, came second in some MVPs. He was the driving force to one of the most fun NBA teams ever, the Lob City Clippers. who somehow never made it to the conference finals. Then he went to the Rockets and was really good there too. In CP3's career, he's a 2-time All-Star, 11 All-NBA teams, 9 All-Defensive teams. That's 7 first teams too. He led the NBA in assists 5 times, was the steal leader 4 times. He's 3rd all-time in steals and assists, and he's in the top 40 of scoring. So chip or not, CP0 or CP3, Chris Paul has had an elite NBA career. But I did give a really slight edge to Russell Westbrook. I know later year Westbrook, he's not amazing, but what Westbrook was for a majority of his career, we've never seen a player do what he did. The guy averaged a triple-double in 3 straight seasons and 4 times in 5 seasons. He's the 2nd player ever to average one in a season, and he did it 4 times. I hate Westbrook hate. The guy was elite. MVP, 9-time All-Star, 9-time All-NBA, 2-time scoring champ, 3-time assist champ, 24th all-time in scoring, top 70 in rebounds, 9th in assists, 19th in steals. The guy's done everything in his career. I think nowadays people forget how nice Westbrook was. So yeah, 31 is Westbrook. And now we're in the top 30. And number 30, we're staying with the point guards. I went with Jason Kidd. That's head coach Jason Kidd. I don't even know why, but I feel like J. Kidd doesn't get the respect he deserves as a player. I know you saw it before, but he's right behind Stockton in the assist and steals. 2nd all-time in each. He's also top 100 in scoring, 61st in rebounds, 17th in threes. Kid just did everything. He was an elite defender, carried the Nets to the finals too. He's a 1-time champ, 10-time All-Star, 6-time All-NBA with 5 first teams, and he has 9 defensive teams. That's really why I put him over all the other point guards. But then, he also led the league in assists 5 times. So yeah, Kid, the first guy in the top 30, and right after him at 29, we gotta go back to the old days, John Havlicek. Something crazy about Havlicek though, the same year he was drafted by the Celtics, he was drafted by the Cleveland Browns to play wide receiver. They can honestly use him today. Cooper needs some help. But Havlicek was the 2nd most important player of those Celtics championship teams. The dude's an 8-time champion. On top of that, 13-time All-Star, 11 All-NBA teams, 8 All-Defense teams. He's 18th all-time in scoring, 40th in assist. He had a season where he averaged 29, 9, and 8. So yeah, Hondo, number 29. And number 28, Scotty Pippen. Pippen is the Robin in NBA history. Of course, his Batman was Tony Kukoc, but Pippen, he was actually drafted by the Sonics. Imagine Gary Payton and Scottie Pippen. You're not scoring on that. I'm saying that like Jordan and Pippen is worse. But Pippen was able to just do a little bit of everything, and then a lot of other things. He's a 6-time champion, 7-time All-Star, 7-time All-NBA with 3 first teams, 10-time All-Defense with 8 first teams. He also led the league in steals, 7th all-time in steals, and he's top 70 in points also. And he's top 40 in assists. So one of the best defenders ever, Scottie Pippen, number 28. And for these next 3, I had a really tough time ranking, but ultimately here's what I decided. 27, I went with Dwayne Wade. D-Wade is the other great Robin. For some parts of his career, he was also that guy in other parts. Like 06 when he won Finals MVP, Wade also had a season where he led the NBA in points per game with 30. I feel like he kind of gets overshadowed by LeBron in some aspects. At the end of the day, it is night. And also at the end of the day, Wade is a 3-time champ, 13-time All-Star, 8-time All-NBA, 3-time All-Defense. He's also top 50 in points, assists, and steals, and he's the Heat's all-time leader in those. But one spot ahead of Wade, I did give number 26 to Kawhi Leonard. I know Kawhi doesn't play basketball, but when he does, there's no one that's better than winning games than him. Of any active player, Kawhi is the highest win percentage of all time, 72%. That's 8th all time. He was also 1st all time for a really long time. Kawhi's just great when he plays. I do understand the case where you say he doesn't play that much though, because he doesn't. But when he does, he's the best defender in the NBA. He averages high 20s on insanely efficient splits. And if you watch those 2019 playoffs, I think that's good enough for him to keep his spot here. He's a 2-time champ, 2-time Finals MVP, 6-time All-Star, 6-time All-NBA, 7-time All-Defense, 2-time Depoy. He led the league in steals once, and he's only 33. He's still elite when he plays. I'd love to see Kawhi get another ring or 2. It would be sick. But I said I had a tough time ranking the 3. That was Wade, Kawhi, and I ended up going with Charles Barkley at 25. Chuck, everyone's favorite halftime guy. I don't know why, but it's so weird for me to think Barkley came into the league in 84. I think of him as such a 90s guy. 84 seems way too early. But that's when he did come into the NBA. He was still great, a little chubby, but nasty. And then he went to the Suns, lost some weight, and was even better. I mean, Barkley is only 6'6". He had a season where he averaged 15 rebounds, plus a career 12 rebounds per game, plus he could score too, a career 22 points per game. Barkley's an MVP, 11-time All-Star, 11-time All-NBA, rebound leader, 29th all-time in points, 19th in rebounds, 27th in steals. Barkley was a monster. He was legitimately called the round mound of rebound. How can you not love Chuck? But one spot above Chuck, we got to go to his favorite place, San Antonio. And I went with David Robinson. Robinson was taken first overall by the Spurs in 87. The guy was a monster. Averaged 26 and 13 in his second season. He's also one of the best defensive players ever. A decoy, 8 all-defensive teams. On top of that, an MVP, 2-time champion, 10-time All-Star, 10 All-NBA teams. He led the NBA in points, rebounds, and blocks, all in different seasons. David Robinson was arguably the best player on the 99 championship team, and he's also arguably part of the best big man duo ever. He's 45th in points, 35th in rebounds, 6th in blocks, so a successful career nonetheless. But I hate the fact that this picture is a real thing. Anyways, moving on to number 23, we gotta go back a little. One of the best scorers the game's ever seen, Elgin Baylor. Baylor played for 20 grand a year. I genuinely wonder if that's a bag for that time, or he just loved playing basketball. But Baylor was nasty. Rookie of the year, scored 71 once, averaged 38 another season, the highest from anyone ever not named Will Chamberlain. But then he had a knee injury that just slowed him down, but besides that, he was still great. 11-time All-Star, 10-time All-NBA, only got to play 13 seasons, but he's 35th all-time in scoring, 27 a night for his career. He's also 27th all-time in rebounds, so yeah. 23, Baylor. And 22, the player no one dislikes, Dirk Nowitzki. Dirk's 2011 playoff run gotta be one of the best runs ever. He was drafted by the Bucks, then they were like, nah, we don't want a top 10 scorer of all time. And then Dirk became the Dallas Mavericks franchise for 21 years, part of some great Mavs teams. He's a 1-time champ, 1-time MVP, 14-time All-Star, 12-time All-NBA, 50-40-90 club. He's 6th all-time in scoring, 26th in rebounds, 18th in threes. The first guy who made it where a big man truly had to be able to shoot, Dirk Nowitzki. Is it Nowitzki or Nowitzki? It's a W, how's it not Nowitz? Anyways, 21, the Doc, Dr. J. Dr. J is such a weird one, because technically a lot of what he did came in the ABA, but he played for the Nets. I don't know. It's weird. But side note, think about this for a second. If you ask a casual, who is Julius Erving, there's a chance they have no idea. But then if you ask them who Dr. J is, they'll know without thinking. That's how popular the nickname became. For Dr. J, I'm going to break down everything he did in the ABA, and then the ABA and NBA combined. If you combine the ABA and NBA together all time, he's 8th in scoring. Just NBA, he's 76th. Combined rebounds, 37th. Assists combined, 66th. Steals, he's 9th. And for blocks, he's 23rd. For his accolades, he's a 3-time champion, 1 in the NBA. He's a 4-time MVP, 1 in the NBA. 16-time All-Star, 11 in the NBA. 12-time All-NBA ABA, 7 in just the NBA, and 5 first teams too. So Dr. J. Yeah, weird one. It's not that he wasn't amazing in the NBA. He's still undoubtedly on this list if it's just NBA too. It's a little confusing because of the fact he was amazing in the ABA too. So I don't know, where are you putting him? But now, we got to go to the top 20. And 20th, I decided to go with Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis, man. Already the Bucks all-time leader in like every stat. This honestly does feel a little low for Giannis, but I don't know where else to put him. Maybe another title or two will boost him. But anyways, you watch Giannis versus your team, you know how good the guy is. There's that's no way to stop him. You say you're going to let him shoot, and then he drives anyway, and he scores or gets fouled. It's clockwork. He's a 1-time champ, 1-time Finals MVP, 2-time MVP, 8-time All-Star, 8-time All-NBA with 6 first teams, a decoy, 5-time All-Defense with 4 first teams, an MIP. He's got everything. He's top 100 in points and rebounds already, and he is only 29. Giannis is going to move up on this list as time goes on, but unfortunately, 19, Karl Malone, which is a little high for Malone. But I can't sit here and act like he's not an all-time great. 2-time MVP, 14-time All-Star, 11 All-NBA first teams with 14 total, 4 defensive teams with 3 firsts. He's 3rd all-time in scoring and 7th in boards. He has to be here. But going to 18, RIP to the legend, Jerry West. West was the 2nd overall pick in 60. The dude is literally the NBA's logo. What was the logo before that though? And plus, Jerry West's nickname was Mr. Clutch. Mr. Clutch and the logo, those are elite nicknames. And the guy had a playoffs where he averaged 46 points per game. Just dumb. He's also the only player to win Finals MVP on a losing team. We all know how he felt though.
My goodness, after all those years. Jerry fucking West, MVP, the most valuable fucking loser award.
Yeah, West is a 1-time champ, 1-time Finals MVP, 14-time All-Star, 12-time All-NBA with 10 first teams, 5-time All-Defense with 4 first teams. He led the league in scoring, he led the league in assists. He's 25th all-time in points and 35th in assists. Number 18, Jerry West. And number 17, we got Kevin Garnett. KG, a dog. That's about it. Your favorite player, he didn't want to play KG on a nightly basis. One of the best defenders ever. His accolades are stacked too. An MVP, a depoy, a champion, a 15-time All-Star, 9-time All-NBA, 12-time All-Defense with 9 first teams, 4-time rebounding champ. He's 19th in points, 9th in boards, 18th in steals, top 60 in assists. One of the best to do it, Kevin Garnett. But number 16, this is where I felt comfortable putting Nikola Jokic. Here's the thing about Jokic. He's a top 5 passer ever. You can make a case for him being the best passer ever, and he's a center. I couldn't put him any higher yet, but there's no doubt in my mind he finishes higher on this list. Jokic has changed the NBA over the past couple of years. The center position was dead for a while, and now it's the best position in the league again. At 29, Jokic is a champion, Finals MVP. He has one of the best playoff runs ever too. He's a 6-time All-Star, 6-time All-NBA with 4 first teams. He's a 3-time MVP. Yes, a 3-time MVP, the 5th most ever. And I know he doesn't crack the 100 yet in boards and points, although he does for assists. But this is where I feel like Jokic should go. And yeah, you might disagree, but so be it. But now, my top 15. And coming in at number 15, Moses Malone, the greatest offensive rebounder ever. Look at how much ahead of second place Moses is in offensive rebounds. It's not even close. There was a point where Moses was probably the best player in the NBA by a solid amount. Moses is a champ, a Finals MVP. The thing a lot of people don't know though, 3-time regular season MVP. Other than that, 12-time All-Star, 8-time All-NBA, 2-time All-Defense, 6-time rebound champ, 11th all-time in scoring, 5th in rebounds, top 30 in blocks. Someone we always forget about in my opinion, Moses Malone. But now, the top 14. In my opinion, 14 is where there's a tier break. And the first guy that comes in the tier of the Fearless 14, trash ass nickname, but 14th, Oscar Robertson. The Big O was the original triple-double god, first guy to ever average one in a season before Russ. Him and Kareem are one of the best duos ever. The Big O, the guy just dropped dimes, and got buckets actually. 14th all-time in scoring, 8th in assists. Oscar Robertson is like a made-up character though. The best guard of the era who got triple-doubles on a daily, but we barely hear about him. I don't know why, I really don't. And in a weird way, Oscar reminds me of this guy. If you know who he is, you know. They both just seem like figments of my imagination. I feel like that's how our kids will look at Russ though, when they just see his stats. Anyways, when you look at Oscar's accolades, they're kind of ridiculous. A champion, an MVP, 12-time All-Star, 11-time All-NBA with 9 first teams, 6-time assist leader, 1-time scoring leader. Oscar Robertson, 14th. And then 13th, that's Kevin Durant. In my opinion, a lot of people dislike KD because the Warriors thing, and I get it, but KD is hilarious, I can't lie. His Twitter interactions are always mad funny, and love him or hate him, there's no question he's one of the best players ever. And you can make a good case that he's the best scorer ever. He got 2 rings, 2 Finals MVPs, a regular season MVP, 14 All-Stars, 11 All-NBAs, 4-time scoring champ, 2-time 50-40-90. He's 8th all-time in scoring, and 15th all-time in threes made. Durant is like 7'9" and handles and pulls up like a shooting guard. But I did give a slight edge to number 12, Stephen Curry. It's crazy to think Curry's 36. Dude's getting up there. But somehow he's still elite. Although maybe not 2016 elite, that's like best player ever level. But what Curry's done in his career has been insane. I know everyone says it for everyone, but Curry genuinely did change the NBA forever. 4-time champ, 2-time MVP, only unanimous MVP ever, 10 All-Stars, 10 All-NBA teams, 2 scoring champs, 50-40-90 guy, 30th all-time in scoring, 39th in assists, and far and away first in threes made. This is a current guy too, by the way, that much ahead. So yeah, Curry, 12. But he may never recover from Lil Boom.
Fuck Steph Curry, fuck Steph Curry, fuck Steph Curry, fuck Steph Curry.
Poor guy. Anyways, number 11, Hakeem Olajuwon. You got other guys calling you the Dream? Interesting. And the thing about Hakeem, yes, his prime was during MJ's, and MJ won every year, but the year and a half MJ retired, Hakeem took advantage and won 2 rings. He's also an MVP, 12-time All-Star, 12-time All-NBA, 6 first teams, 2-time Defensive Player of the Year, 9-time All-Defensive Team, 2-time Rebound Champ, 3-time Block Champ. Hakeem's one of the best defenders ever. There isn't even a debate there. He's 13th at scoring, 14th in rebounds, 10th in steals, 1st in blocks. Insanely underrated. But now, the top 10. The next 6 guys I genuinely don't know how to rank, but let's try. Number 10, Bill Russell. The ultimate winner when it comes to basketball. Russell is incredibly weird to rank to me, because of course he won, but he wasn't as skilled as many people on here. I'm not saying he wasn't great. I love Bill Russell. It's just the facts though. A career 15 points per game on a 44% field goal, but he does have a career average of 23 rebounds per game. So he was amazing at that. He's an 11-time champion, 5-time NBA MVP, 12-time All-NBA, only 3 first teams though, 3 first teams and 5 MVPs. Make it make sense, Adam. But Russell also has a defensive team and 4 rebound titles. Also, 6 is retired by every team in the league. That's how impactful he was. So yeah, 10, Bill Russell, and 9, Shaquille O'Neal. Shaq, man, one of the biggest haters of all time, but that's okay, because he's one of the best players of all time. It's not even a debate he's up here. It's just a debate of where he goes. Although, this might be last ever, but then again, this might be first ever. So I guess 9 is a fine line, but Shaq's a 4-time champ, 3-time Finals MVP, 15-time All-Star, 14 All-NBA with 8 teams, 3 defensive teams, a scoring champ. He's 9th all-time in points, 15th in rebounds, 8th in blocks, and 1st in threes. Sniper. So yeah, number 9, Shaquille O'Neal. And now, number 8, I went with Tim Duncan. Duncan was the first overall pick as a senior, when he literally could have been the first overall pick as a sophomore, but he promised his mom he'd get a degree, so respect to Duncan. I think Duncan's so quiet, so he doesn't get the respect he deserves. He was the Spurs franchise for like 20 years, and they won like 90 games per year. Duncan literally didn't lose. It was crazy. He's a 5-time champion, 3-time Finals MVP, 2-time MVP, 15-time All-Star, 15 All-NBA teams with 10 first, 15 All-Defensive teams with 8 first, 16th all-time in scoring, 6th in rebounds, 5th in blocks. There's no debate Duncan belongs on this list. My only question is, should he be higher? Probably. It's tough when there's so many great players though, but moving on to number 7. For 7, I decided to go with Kobe Bryant. Kobe, man, probably the most loved player of all time. When he died, I never remember the world pausing like that. One thing everyone will always remember is where you were when Kobe passed away. One of the saddest things I can ever remember. And although he was super cool off the court, go beyond the court, he was a different beast.
But I'm the best.
But are you a different animal and the same beast?
What the does that mean, Kobe Bryant?
You're welcome.
When you think about players who love the sport of basketball, there might not be anyone ever more than Kobe. Kobe finished his career as a 5-time champion, 2-time Finals MVP, 18-time All-Star, 15 All-NBA teams with 11 first, 12 All-Defensive teams with 9 first, 1 MVP, 2 scoring championships. He's 4th all-time in scoring, 33rd in assist, 34th when Mike Conley gets 1 assist next year. But Kobe's also 16th in steals. He was elite offensively, elite defensively, and well-deserving of a top 10 spot. So everyone's favorite player, Kobe, number 7. And number 6, for me, it's really hard to rank the next 2, but number 6, I did go with Larry Bird. My most recent video was on Bird. If you guys saw it, you know how I feel about him. He low-key could have been the GOAT, but injuries. The guy just got injured so early in his career, he never really got to finish it out, and it was all because he wanted to help out his mom and shovel her driveway. Good son. But in 13 seasons, Bird was a 3-time champion, 3-time MVP, 12-time All-Star, 10-time All-NBA, 9 first teams, 3 defensive teams, 2-time 50, 40, 90. He's top 60 in points, rebounds, assists, and steals. But yet, he just got screwed because of injuries, so that's his career. But one spot above him, I gave to his biggest rival, Magic Johnson. Magic also had a short career because of other reasons, but what he did in his 13 seasons was insane. He's arguably the greatest passer ever. To me, he's the best point guard ever. Bird and Magic made the NBA so popular. In Magic's career, he's a 5-time champion, 3-time MVP, 12-time All-Star, 10-time All-NBA, 9 first teams, the exact same stuff as Bird. But Magic has 4 assist titles and 2 steal titles. He's 7th all-time in assists and 23rd in steals. The guy averages a career 11.2 assists per game. That's unheard of. So yeah, Magic, number 5. And number 4, to me, 4 and 3 are pretty secure. I feel pretty good where both these next two come in. Number 4, Wilt Chamberlain. Wilt was just way ahead of his time. The guy scored 100 points in one game. A game we still never saw the footage of, and I actually did find out the truth about that game. I filmed the video, I'm posting it soon, so please just sub if you want to see it. But Wilt, 101 game, averaged 50 in a season. That's literally my career numbers. He averages a career 23 rebounds. He was ridiculous. 2-time champ, 4-time MVP, 13-time All-Star, 10 All-NBA teams with 7 first teams, 2 defensive teams, 7-time scoring leader, 11-time rebound leader. The guy led the league in assists one season too. How? He's 7th all-time in points, 1st in rebounds by like 2,000, 83rd in assists too. There's no reason for people to hate on Wilt as much as they do. He's one of the best players ever, and it isn't even a question. All hundreds, Wilt Chamberlain. But now, the top 3. Number 3, it's the same guy everyone has in their 3rd spot, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I feel like Kareem is a lock for the top 3 for everyone. Actually, he did everything in his career. 6 championships, 6 MVPs, the most ever, 19 All-Star teams, 15 All-NBA teams, 10 first teams, 11 All-Defensive teams, 2-time scoring champ, rebound champ, 4-time block champ. Kareem was just everywhere. The guy's 2nd all-time in scoring. He averaged 35 a night one season, but he's also 3rd all-time in rebounds and blocks. So he was elite defensively too. So yeah, number 3, Kareem. And now we got the top 2. The 2 greatest players of all time. And number 2, actually, I'm not picking video over. Alright, number 2, LeBron James. I'm sorry, LeBron fans. It's really a coin toss for me. I'll give you my reason when we get to MJ. But LeBron, the dude's been basically dominating the NBA for my entire life. It makes no sense. He's 40 right now and probably still a top 5 player. He didn't even slow down his game, he just changed how he played it. He's the all-time leading scorer, 30th in rebounds, 4th in assists, 8th in steals. He's a 4-time champ, 4-time Finals MVP, 4-time regular season MVP, 20-time All-NBA. That's actually ridiculous. 13 first teams, 6-time All-Defense, scoring champ, assist champ. Bro, that's just insane. Maybe he is number 1. I don't know. I hate this. Anyway, who I'm putting at number 1? It's Michael Jordan. I think when you think about the GOAT, you just think about Michael Jordan. I mean, think about it. Who's the GOAT? Michael Jordan. See? My reason for Jordan though, Jordan 3-peated in 91, 92, 93. He retired from the NBA, or maybe really got suspended. Probably. But yeah, 2 seasons out, Bulls don't win. He comes back a season and a half later, then wins 3 more titles. That's just crazy. It shows the Bulls with him versus without him. I did see someone do this video about training like The Rock though, and then I asked in my community tab if I should do a video like that where I go full in and do Jordan's training for a month, and someone commented that all I'd be doing is gambling. Had me cracking up. But would you guys want to see that? Low-key, I would gamble in it too, cause why not? But yeah, Mr. Monopoly, number 1 all time. 5th all time in scoring, 4th in steals, 6-time champ, 6-time Finals MVP, 5-time MVP, 14-time All-Star, 11-time All-NBA with 10 first teams, a depoy, 9-time All-Defense, all first teams, 10-time scoring champ, 3-time steals champ, had his jersey retired for a team he never even played for. You know what they call that where I'm from? 5-letter word, starts with a G, but I won't say it. But yeah, Michael Jeffrey Jordan, probably the greatest basketball player of all time. And yeah, that's the list. Sub if you want to see those Will or MJ videos. Sub if you don't want to see those Will or MJ videos. Just sub because I spent way too long on this. See you guys soon.